Hey gang, Craig Ripley here. Welcome once again to Living Off the Slab. Now today we're going to talk about 5 tips or hacks that I've used over the years to save money for these big motorcycle trips. Now if you're coming here to this video and you're not a motorcyclist, that's okay. I think that these tips can be used for any kind of travel, right? Or in fact for saving money for anything that you might need. Now, if you're an older guy like me, you have probably figured all of this stuff out. You probably may be retired. You probably have all the money you need to do your traveling. So who I'm really targeting this video for is the younger guys. The guy who is just getting into motorcycling, has some dreams of traveling, right, but really doesn't know how to go about getting started. And one last thing I got to say, again, because I probably have to do a little disclaimer here, that I am not a financial expert here and I am not giving financial advice. What I'm going to do is simply tell you the things that I've done, right, so that I can include motorcycle travel in my lifestyle. Right, here goes tip number 1, and this is the key to everything. You need to figure out a way to live below your means. Right? If you don't have some money at the end of every month, it's going to be almost impossible for you to save anything. So how do you go about making sure that there's some money at the end of every month? Well, that's where the next tip comes in, right? And that is tip number 2, and it is that you need to look at your living situation and see if there's any way that you can downsize it and make your monthly rent or your monthly mortgage less expensive. Now, I heard a statistic the other day that says that about 90% of homeowners only use 50% of their homes. Right? And if you think about it, that's probably true. There are homes that have, dining rooms and then formal dining rooms, and you have living rooms and front parlors and all of this kind of stuff in these huge homes that I know they keep building around here. Right? But do we really all need that? Especially if you're younger, you don't have a family yet, or if you're older and your family's moved on, gone to college and creating their own lives. So as an example, I'll tell you what my wife Kathy and I did. Right? When we were looking for a home 19 years ago now, we could qualify for about an extra $100,000 worth of mortgage than what we ended up using. Right? We ended up finding a nice 3-bedroom, 1-bath, raised ranch, 1,300 square feet, right, in a great neighborhood that was at the lower end of our price range. Right? And it's been absolutely comfortable for us. And we actually, in this 1,300 square feet, we've got a couple of rooms that we don't use a whole lot. So we could probably even downsize ourselves. Now, when we first got into this home, we weren't making anywhere near as much money as we are now. However, rather than move up as our income increased, we stayed in the same place. And now we have a very reasonable mortgage that is less than I can go out and get a 2-bedroom apartment in our same area. And the result of that is that we can take this extra money that we would have been paying on a larger home and we can stick it in a savings account for travel and other kind of expenses like that. So tip number 3 is drive old cars. And what I mean by that is that Kathy and I, when we buy our cars, and we make sure that we buy them, we do not lease them because, again, in my opinion, leasing is a very poor financial decision, right? You get no equity in your car whatsoever, right? And you're just constantly trading it in and constantly having a payment. So what we have done is, again, we purchase our cars and we typically buy them new. However, we pay them off and then we drive them for an extended period of time without any payments. Right now, we've got 2 automobiles and 3 motorcycles, and none of them have any payments on it. So all of that money that would have been going towards a payment, again, can go into our travel savings account. So tip number 4 is to set your priorities. Right? And what I mean is that, for example, if you're watching this video, I figure your priorities are probably that you want to save some money for a motorcycle trip or for some kind of adventure, right? That is what my priorities have been. So you got to look at your life and look at the things that you spend money on and decide, well, is it better off that I buy this new iPhone, or is it better off that I save it for, a trip later on? Or for example, what we did is we used to go to quite a bit of concerts. And you know, it got to where the price of the concerts now are $200 a ticket or what have you. And so that would cost us $400 or $500 to go see a show. So we just had to sit down and say, you know something? I would rather spend that money on a vacation or on travel later on than on a concert right now. So those are the kind of decisions that we have made, allowing us again to have a little bit extra money to put into this savings account. Tip number 5 is you need to start an emergency or a travel fun money fund. And that's what we've been talking about, why you're making all of these changes so that you can start saving this money. So for me, when I started this account, well, more than 20 years ago now, first we were saving for the down payment on our home, and then after that we started saving for an emergency fund and again for a travel and fun money fund as well. Right? And this is an account where we honestly don't make a whole lot of interest on it, right? Because we want it to be really liquid, very easy to get to if we need it. And we've had to get to it over the course of time, right? We had to get into this account when our water heater went bad. We've had some well pumps that have gone bad on a couple of occasions. We had Kathy's accident just last year, again, and we had to draw on that fund, right, to pay our expenses while she wasn't working. So this is what this account is for. It is not there to keep up with inflation and all this kind of stuff or lock it away in some long-term savings vehicle. It is there so that you can get to it when you need it. Now again here I want to reiterate that this did not happen for us overnight, right? We have been doing this for quite a long time. So now, as we're getting older, as we have the time to get away from work and so forth, now we have this money that we can call upon when we want to go do these things like this 60-day trip that I'm working on. Right? I don't have to scramble for it. It's already been saved, again, over time. But we continue to put into this account, right, every month, right? We are constantly replenishing it. So we use it, we replenish it. We want to make sure it's there, along with putting our money into other long-term retirement vehicles. So my suggestion, that is, even if you don't have a lot of money left over after paying your bills, that you at least put something away. Get in the habit of doing it. Right? For us, it wasn't a lot of money every paycheck in the beginning. Right? We were putting in 20 bucks, 50 bucks. So you can start off with that, just whatever you can afford, as long as you get in the habit of putting that money in every time you get a paycheck. So here's a bonus tip. Number 6, if you will. And this really isn't about saving money, it's just about getting in good financial habits. Right? Because I know when we were younger, we made our mistakes with credit cards. Right? We went out and we ran up big balances and we let them just kind of roll over and made the minimum payments, just like everybody does. But eventually, we figured out that wasn't going to work. We worked our ass off to get everything paid off. It was not such an easy time, but we did it. Right? And then we decided that we're going to have good financial wherewithal and that we were never going to do that again. And we haven't. Right? So every month, whatever we pay on the credit card, which is a lot because we do all of our food, all of our gas, you know, a lot of things on the credit card, but we pay them off 100% every month. Whatever it is, that's just the rule. Right? If we have to do without something else because we splurged a little bit for our credit card, well, that's just the way that it is, right? But we make sure that we never run a balance on those credit cards. And in closing, I guess, let me give you one more bonus one. So this is going to be number 7, right? And that is that start off small, right? You don't have to do everything or nothing, right? It's not an all or nothing game here. Right? We see a lot of people, again, on YouTube especially, who are going on 60-day trips, like myself, or some that are giving up, you know, their lives and going on this nomadic journey. And again, that's awesome. I'm envious of those people. But most of us just can't do that, or don't even really want to do that. But we still want to incorporate, again, travel and adventure into our lives. Well, it's completely possible. So just start off small, right? All I could do in the beginning was to afford to go on a long weekend trip. But then those grew as we saved money. Again, as I got more vacation time, I could then go on a 1-week trip and a 2-week trip. And then last year, we went up to Alaska, and it was a 35-day trip, so 5 weeks. And now we're looking at going on a 60-day trip. So again, it just works itself out over time, right? Don't think that it has to be all or nothing. All right, gang, so that's it for today. Once again, I thank everybody for watching. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe and click that bell so that you get notified when new videos are up there. Also, if you want to support this channel, again, you can do things like buying from Twisted Throttle by linking through my website. You can buy a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. I've got an ebook for sale in which I talk about a lot of these topics that we just covered. Also, if you would rather support us on a monthly basis, I of course have a Patreon page where you can become a Slab Insider and get additional content as well. So thanks, guys. We'll see you out there on the road. I'm looking forward to 2019.